right, now another thing that we have to address, we have to talk education. We did just the bare minimum of education during the first couple of episodes. So as of right now, we have two elementary schools. And all in all, not horrible, but things that we need to address. Look at that, 9.9% uneducated, 41.5% poorly educated, 35.2% educated, 12.8 well, and then 0.6 highly educated. So you say, okay, where are some of these educated people coming
This
from?
is Second Moon
They
Business.
are
This just in.
Interesting.
they're coming from outside of the city. So if your residents that live in your city do not go to school, they will be uneducated. Because we've got the elementary school down and we've had it down for a while, what's going to happen is they're going to go from uneducated to poorly educated. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that a good percentage of this 41.6% are our citizens who have at least gone to elementary school. So you look at how many are eligible, you look at the capacity, and we also look at the areas of red in the residential. So let's do one more small elementary school, and you see how that residential area turns green, which is what we want. Now, what we also need to work on, we need to work on not just elementary, but we also need to work on high school. Now, I don't want to, if I look at what's eligible, I don't want to match that right now because that may be more eligible than it's going to be in the future because we've got a steady flow that are coming out of elementary. So this number may go down. So let's do at least one small high school. Let's put it out. Let's put it here. If you look at the upkeep, that's not bad upkeep. So what I think I'm going to do is at least one more high school. Nice. Nice. I do want this elementary number to come up a bit. Instead of putting down another elementary school, let's do the extension wing. Let's come back here. We're getting better. Do we have enough space? Let's do another extension wing there. Let's take a look and see. That's a bit better. I'm going to let it stay like this for a while. Let's get our equilibrium. Look at that, we're still doing well. Now that we've got that, now we can start thinking about more residents into the city. Let's come back here. Let's get this. Before we zone, let's go ahead and take care of some of these. We know we're going to have some traffic. Let's do that. We can always make changes at a later date, but let's just do enough. We've got demand for a little bit of everything. Let's get some. Let's do maybe here and here for that. We also need medium density. Let's do medium there. We need commercial. We need offices. We do need some industrial. Let's make this area look a little bit more. Let's do that, that, and that. Everything is coming down except for commercial and low density. Let's give them a pretty sizable commercial area there. More residents means more taxable income. At some point, we're going to have need for industrial. So do we do industry out here? Or do we do it here? Let's do a grid. And that may be too much. We may do a combination as our people get more educated. This could become like an office park for industry and offices. So let's connect. Let's do this. I'm going to angle it like that. Let's go back to our development points. There are more things. So we've already unlocked highways, intersections. We don't need to worry about anything for electricity right now. Nothing for water. We could do a hospital, but for right now, we're okay. We've already unlocked the recycling center. I do want a college. let's use one development point for college. Nothing for fire. Now, this is completely up to you. I have not, before the major patches, the welfare office was extremely helpful. Until I hear otherwise, I'm still going to go with welfare office. The welfare office provides financial support for low income citizens. And think about it, we have a lot of uneducated to poorly educated. So I want to increase their well being and lower the likelihood of recurring crime, which happens because before the major patches, the welfare office made it so that you didn't need a lot of police. So I'm going to still go down the path of thinking that the welfare office is extremely important. And I do want park maintenance. Let's go
Pending
ahead.
updates to our power grid, the city will be.
A driving advice.
You're listening. And on.
Industry.
Park maintenance is important. I may hold off, but really I think I've got everything that I need at this point. Let's go ahead. We're going to do the welfare office. We're spending a lot of money. Let's see, how much of this city can we turn green with the welfare office? Looks like we can turn a good portion of it. Let's put it out here. Good. Now, I'm going to let the city do its thing. I'm going to let people move in. Let's get some commercial. Excellent. All right. Look at that. That's wonderful. So we've done a lot of spending, and even though we've placed buildings that have a monthly upkeep, that is still roughly the monthly balance before we did all those things. At the beginning of this episode, the monthly balance has not changed even though we've put down buildings. All right, so we have been working on additional services for the city, and we have been hitting our budget hard, but that's fine. We'll make that back, and here's a way to make even more back. So if we'll look here, so let's look at our economy. Service trade. So remember, we are producing an excess in electricity, and we are getting in 575,000. Now, let's take a look at this. Now, yes, we do have the coal power plant here, but the big generator of electricity is the gas power plant. Now, to put down the gas power plant itself, it was 650,000, and look at what its production is. It will produce 250 megawatts. If we click on the gas power plant that we already have, we have some options, and one of those options is an advanced furnace, so we will burn more with less fuel, which is a good way to go. We'll do that shortly. But over here, for 260,000, an additional turbine If you will look at the cost of it and look at the upkeep, that is a really good deal for an additional 100 megawatts. So what should happen is we are producing even more electricity, and we could potentially, on this service trade, go from 575, we could come close to almost doubling that dollar amount. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and do it because that's a good deal. That's really going to hit our finances, but that's fine. Good. All right. That's done. And then while that is producing in excess, it's going to take a little while for that to show up here. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start working on some neighborhoods out here. So let's do this. I'm going to up our game speed, and we're really close to another milestone, Big Town, and we'll get some additional funds. That's basically going to make up what we just spent on that turbine. But let's get some more neighborhoods in place because our demand is still growing, which is a good thing. So let's get this, make sure this is even. Nope, let's. We just unlocked. We basically got our money back for the turbines. Once again, I have to remind myself I'm not going for beauty here. This neighborhood is a little bit off, a little bit slanted compared to that one. But I'm reminding myself that this is a tutorial. I'm not going necessarily for beauty. And just as I say I'm not going for beauty, I have to redo that. There's no way I can let that. Let's see if we can. A little bit better. Because what should happen, we should get a pretty nice influx of demand. It's already happening. And we'll add more connections here and there, but this is enough for now. So we've got a little bit of everything. So we've got, and if you'll see, all the boxes here are green. There's nothing negative. We've got low density demand, medium density demand, commercial demand, and industrial demand. Offices. We need more educated individuals in order to create that demand for offices. But let's start to fill in. Let's start with some industry. Let's do commercial. I'm not so sure what I want. If I want this, I don't know how much commercial I want. here, and that's a decision that you can make. For right now, I think I'm gonna leave that. I think I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's do some commercial here, there. Let's do some low density. Maybe some medium there and there. We did not do enough low density apparently. All right. Now, let's take a look and see because we've upped the speed. So we've gone from 575, we are now at 828 in service trade. So that's wonderful. If you remember when we were doing episode 4, our wrap up, we were just over 1 million. Now we're around 1.4 million. So that's wonderful as well, and that's taking into account all of the other all of the additional buildings that we have placed. We need to get to the point where we can afford. I want to get to the point where we can afford a recycling center, but we have bought ourselves a little bit of time. See that? Neither one is at max now. So we've bought ourselves some time. This landfill is basically a band-aid. And if worse comes, if we still don't have the funds, but I'm pretty sure we should, we could do another landfill. I don't have a problem with that. It gives it that look. This is a garbage recycling compound area, if you will. So wonderful. Thanks to that additional turbine, we are now making a really nice service trade profit. Look at that. Wonderful. If you are saying to yourself, hey, Leonard, well, we know this is pretty expensive, but how about the coal? We've got that additional coal. You know, what happens if you did another small coal power plant? Does that help as well? And the answer is yeah, that would help. You could bring in some additional. We could give it a try and see. It's not that expensive. So let's see what happens. Now, once again, it's not generating nearly the electricity, but we just placed it and look at that. It really did not impact the cost at all that we had. And let's see what happens. Any little additional electricity that we can provide is going to help. So we're now at 1.6. If you wanted to, we really don't necessarily need it, but you could put down an emergency battery station. But let's see what happens. I don't think we're going to have need. I don't think we're going to run into an emergency situation like that. So we can hold off on the emergency battery. But that's always something. Once again, as I said, I had a viewer, second episode of this beginner's guide went off on their own direction. I highly encourage that. If you want to follow along, exactly the way I am, great. If you want to go off and do your own thing, excellent. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you find. Maybe there's something that I can implement in a city. We've got demand, and some of that demand is for office. Wonderful. Let's get some offices out here. That pretty much that took care of all of the office demand. We seem to maintain a pretty healthy commercial demand. And low density continues to bounce back up. Let's get some more low density here. We've got a lot of people moving here, so why don't we let's do a small elementary. See, we've got areas of red now. We've got to take care of these newer neighborhoods that we just placed. Let's put a school there. Let's get a school out here. Let's look at the red. Let's do that. Small high school. I may do just one. Let's put the small high school. Let's do that. If we take a look at other things, we're good with water. Look at that. Our health care is still relatively good. We are going to need to start to think about another crematorium. We could do another medical clinic, but we're in the green with medical. Fortunately, we do not have prisoners. If we did, we would have to start thinking about the city police because it actually has a jail. We also need to start thinking about bus, and we need to get some parks down. We did a good job out here, but now we've gone a couple of episodes without focusing. So I like the dog park. Let's get dog park down in a couple of spots. But you can, if you want to use a different park, you can. Let's try to get as much green. This was green at one time. Let's address that. Better. Now let's come over here. Our happy face at the end of episode 4, going into episode 5 in this episode. We've now gone from right in the middle to here. Remember, our mail service was -11. Our mail service is now +7. Traffic is still -1. I'm fine with that. Walking distance to elementary school was +1. It is now +2. Unreliable health care. It says unreliable, so we may need to start talking about, let's look at our development points. We have 16 development points. The hospital is 2. Let's go ahead and unlock the hospital. How much is the hospital? We can't afford the hospital. The hospital is incredibly expensive. We've unlocked it, which is fine, but for right now, let's go back to the medical clinic, because we do have, if you remember, we've got green areas, but we've placed new neighborhoods, and that's what's affecting our medical score. That one medical clinic turns everything green. So let's do it. That should help our score. If we need, we can add extra ambulances. We can add an extension wing. While we're on healthcare, crematorium. Let's take a look and see. We're just barely in the red. So let's take care of that. If you remember the first City Skylines, and that what would happen is, as you placed down neighborhoods at roughly the same time at the beginning of a city, you had that death wave, and people would start dying in just incredible numbers. Let's put the crematorium on this major road here. Let's do that. That gets us back into the green. Let's take a look at some of these signature buildings that we've unlocked. We've got some apartments. And remember, these are things that they don't cost, but they have a nice benefit. So we've got some apartments that are going to increase well-being. We've got a diner that's going to help on import costs, attractiveness, well-being. We've got the chemical plant. That's going to give us a plus 1% industrial efficiency. That's going to be wonderful as well. So let's looks like that's a pretty good size too. So let's see here. Let's start with that. And let's look. I don't think the radius matters citywide, so we can place that anywhere. Might be good to put the chemical plant out here where we're also going to have the recycling. Let's make sure that we're not. Yeah, we got plenty of space. Let's do the diner. And if it's got a bit of a tourist, maybe we put it just off of one of the main roads here. And then let's come here. luxury apartments. It's a pretty good radius. Let's put the luxury apartments there. The intersections that we used already lend themselves to expanding out in those directions. We're already starting to approach another milestone. Great town. So yeah, this is another one of those points I feel where a player could say, "Okay, I'm several episodes in, and I think I want to go in my own direction, or I think I want to start a city again, based upon what I've seen and heard." But yeah, at this point, what I would be working on, and if we did another episode, we could start working on a bus network. We do not have buses, we have taxis in the city. We could work more with parks, we could work more with parking lots. We could maybe use some development points and go in the direction of large parks, sport parks, and start working in the direction of tourist attractions. But that's yet to be seen. I think I will continue on and do work on buses and a few other infrastructure items. But I think we're at another stopping point, another wrapping up. Episode 4 we wrapped up, and here we're wrapping up because now the city, if you look here, the city is making a really nice profit, and we're making more now with more buildings in place than where we were at the end of episode 4. But yeah, I appreciate you spending time, and we'll probably return to this city, especially if you say so. But this city, we could work on buses, like I said, parking lots, maybe get some parks going. I do not believe we have unlocked park maintenance. Let's go ahead and use a point on that. But things of that nature, we're just slowly and surely, that this version of this current version of City Skylines 2 really rewards patience, moving cautiously and watching your budget. So excellent. Well, I appreciate you spending time, and let me know if you've got any questions, what we can work on. But we will see you next time. Perfect timing. We just hit milestone 9. Great town. We just made more money, and we got a lot more development points.